Welcome to Self-Centered Living, a podcast that serves as a vital platform for women of color across cultures and backgrounds to take charge of our narratives and where our voices are centered. I'm your host, Trish, and here we delve into our diverse experiences and rich humanity through a blend of personal stories and insightful discussions with a range of guests. Our aim is to foster meaningful connections and understanding among our listeners. This season, we're exploring the scripts that shape us, the ones we inherited, the ones that were imposed, and the ones that want to emerge when we can finally see them. Over the holidays, I was at my cousin's, and in the middle of all the festivities, the food, the noise, the family, his daughter's boyfriend got down on one knee, took her hand, and proposed. The room erupted. Instant elation. Everyone was overjoyed. I was happy for her, and I felt the tugs at my heartstrings just watching it happen. Right alongside that happiness, something else showed up. A familiar, almost claustrophobic feeling, not quite run, go get the EpiPen, my throat is closing, more subtle. Questions I carried as long as I've known myself surfaced. Why and for whom? The institution of marriage has never made sense to me, not intellectually, not in my body. And when you're a person who's died to yourself so many times over, the words "until death do us apart" beg the question, which death? Further, love is something that for me is lived. It neither requires state nor church management. And yet, I am married. 24 years ago, this July, I pulled a Janet Jackson, a secret wedding, and somehow convinced myself I was doing it differently, that I'd escaped. But I didn't escape. I just did the thing quietly. And of course I did. My partner and I come from a culture where after university, marriage is a foregone conclusion. Our parents were married for life, only parting when our mothers were made widows. It wasn't a question. It was the water we swam in. So now watching my younger cousin's hand get taken, I felt it again. The pull between what I believe and what I did. I betrayed what I believed. Not because I was weak, but because the script was that good. It was wrapped in customs and expectations, and most certainly, love. It didn't announce itself as a script. In fact, it felt like my own thinking. The Janet Jackson workaround, it just quieted the voice that was insisting on a different way. Now, this reflection doesn't mean I would undo anything. I've enjoyed our partnership and the life we built together. The biggest gift of all of it, our son. What it does mean is that I can see the script now. Seeing it informs what I'm choosing going forward with more clarity and more honesty about who I am. I share this experience because I think a lot of us are walking around with similar moments. Moments where something everyone around us treated as natural, as inevitable, as just the way things are, suddenly doesn't sit right. Not because it was wrong, but because we realize we never actually chose it. And I wonder how much of what we think of as who we are is something that was handed to us before we had the language to accept or refuse it. Think about it. The first part of life, without knowing a choice, we come to be the personality behind our given names. We are, for lack of a better description, a series of inputs from our families, our cultures, our communities. Some of what we absorbed was forged in love. A lot was forged out of survival. Our families gave us what they had to keep us alive and moving. Then the world added its own layer. systems, institutions, environments that told us who we were, what we were worth, and what was available to us. We absorb that too. And all of it is still running. Here's what I want to hold, because this is important. These scripts are not all garbage. Many of them were acts of love, as I said before. But love that was right for one season may not serve the next. Sometimes the scripts need to evolve. Sometimes it needs to be shed for something more life-giving. It's not about rejecting where we came from. It's about seeing clearly enough to choose what we carry forward. The guilt of choosing differently from a tradition or way of being that fed our survival, that guilt is real. But it doesn't have to be a good or bad dichotomy. It can be about growth, evolution, and choice. Allow me to put it a different way, another way, just for a moment. What if we thought of ourselves as hard drives? We've been encoded, programmed for the current operating system. There are processes running in the background, consuming energy, eating up resources, and there's no room for new programming. You don't have to love the metaphor, but just work with me. What does it take to upgrade? What needs to be seen before it could be released? An ongoing cycle of reconnecting with ourselves, with our inherent wisdom, then clearing away beliefs and scripts that obscured it. That's what this season is about. That's what this work is about. And it is explored in 3 territories. There are the inherited scripts, what was passed down, the spoken and unspoken expectations, values, ways of being from family, culture, and community. The things we absorbed before we knew we were absorbing them, like I did with marriage. Like many of us did with ideas about success, about what a good life looks like, about obligations, about who we were supposed to become. Then there are the imposed scripts, what was placed on us by environments, systems, institutions, people who decided who we were and what we were capable of before we had a say. It's the assumptions, the boxes, the moments where the world told us who we could be. We absorb those too. Waiting underneath all of that and yelling, pick me, is what wants to emerge. What becomes possible when we can finally see the scripts that have been operating. It's the curiosity that got shelved. It's the longing we explained away. What wants to come forward when we stop running someone else's program. This season, you'll hear from women across cultures and generations, each one navigating this territory in her own way. Some looking back across decades at scripts that shaped entire lives. Some early enough that the scripts are still being written in real time. In between, you'll hear from me, sitting with each of these territories, explaining what they mean, and inviting you to do the same. We are not a monolith. I said that in season 1. Still true. And yet these are the threads that connect us. The experience of navigating space is not designed for us, the tension between honoring our roots and authoring our own paths, the question of what we carry forward and what we leave behind. That was true for season 1, and it's the foundation for season 2. But this season, we go deeper into the wiring. The questions these women sit with are yours to sit with as well. This process isn't passive. If you're listening to this, you're more likely already in the work. The invitation I extend to you is to do some work alongside us. Not homework, not self-improvement assignments, just noticing. paying attention to what's running in the background of your life, where it came from, and whether you chose it. And what stirs when you consider that you might have more choice than you think. What's on the other side of seeing clearly is not a blank slate. It's a fuller you. It's self-design. You taking the wheel and creating your life, not reacting, not performing, not running a program that was installed before you could say yes or no. You choosing. And it starts with this. For the sake of what? That's a question I ask my guests before they determine what they will share with you. What are you sharing for the sake of what? It's a question worth asking ourselves often. What am I doing and for the sake of what? The answer may tell you whether you're living from a script or from your own sense of knowing what is right for you. That's what the season is and what I'm inviting you into. I want you to stay with us. And mostly, because you're allowed to, I want you to stay self-centered. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Self-Centered Living. Come back next week as we continue exploring what shapes us and what wants to emerge. Our music is by Ketsu. Information on our participants can be found in the show notes. You can find me at selfcenteredliving.com. Take care until then.